Good morning, everybody. It's 5:36 in the morning, Wednesday morning. Not really, you can tell by the daylight, but here we are at Hidden Key Brewery. We're going to take a look inside and figure out how all the magic is done, where they can transform barley and hops into our good tasting beer. They have a couple areas here. In the front is Bell's Kitchen, which is the food part of it. We're going to go into the lounge real quick, show you the bar, and then walk out to the patio area. And then we're going to go into the brewery to take a look at how this is really made. Okay, this is the lounge area. Got the bar over here. I understand they carry about 12 different beers all the time. My favorite beer up here is the British Aren't Coming. But got all kinds of Belgian sours, got IPA, got West Coast IPA, a Mexican lager. So this is the bar area. And out here and this is how the beer gets from the brewery to the bar. Out here is the patio area. I understand in the summertime they can open up these garage doors, so this has an open feel to it here. Fireplace here for ambience. Okay, so we're going to head out to the brewery is out here. So come on out here with me. Okay, here we are inside the brewery of Hidden Key Brewery, and I'm talking to Tim Houck here, who is one of the owners, a brewmaster.
Yep,
is that the correct termination?
Yeah.
Brewmaster Tim we're talking to. I have no idea how you go from, if you look out here, the bags of grain, how you go from that to a good tasting beer. But Tim's going to let us know. And it all happens within this room.
Right here.
Okay, Tim, tell us what's going on here.
Sure, so right here to my left, you have the brew house. There's 3 different vessels there. One is the hot liquor tank. That's where we get started. It's basically just a big reservoir for hot water, which you need a lot of during the brew process. Including cleaning, it's about a 10-to-1 water usage to yield. So for every 10 gallons of water, you get 1 gallon of beer. Jeez. Now a lot of that's used up in cleaning, but it's a lot. So anyway, once we get the water going, we combine that with the grain, which is fed by this auger here, and then out of that mill in the corner there, buried under all those kegs.
Okay.
The water combines with the grain. We have a whirlpool attachment up there, which prevents clumping and allows an even mixture in the mash tun. This is where the first bit of magic happens. So grain actually has enzymes inherent to it that at a certain temperature will convert complex sugars, also in the grain, into simple sugars that the yeast can eat. So this part of the process is very important, and you have to have fairly precise temperature control to get these enzymes to be able to do their thing so that the yeast can eat the sugar. So we rest the grain once it's well mixed in here for about an hour, and that process all takes place. Then we dump hot water on top of that to stop that activity. And once that's done, we push it through here. We're rinsing the grain, getting all the sugars out of it, coming into this work grant where it separates from the grain, and then into the boil kettle. Once you're in the boil kettle, it's exactly like it sounds, you boil. And at this point you add hops, which can be added for a variety of purposes. The first addition is often called the bittering addition. So that's where you get that bitter flavor, which A, preserves the beer, and B, helps balance it against some of those sugars that don't get fermented. So you have the sweetness from the sugars balanced with the bitterness of the hops.
So at what point here do you can decide to make an IPA or a Hefeweizen? Is that at that point?
So that actually happens before you even step foot in the brew house. So I can take a step back here.
Okay.
It goes into the beer design, right? So you have a couple different kinds of grains that are commonly used in brewing. Most commonly is barley. Secondly, wheat, and then you have oats, rye, that kind of stuff used to a much lesser extent. But even within barley, it's not just barley's barley, right? There's many different processes, especially called the kilning, which is where they roast the barley. So it's all roasted to varying extents. So like if you were to design a stout or a darker beer, that color comes from more heavily roasted grain.
Okay. So is there standards to, if you want to make an ale, to an IPA, to a Hefeweizen, is there like national standards or just...
Yeah, there's international standards.
International standards
for all this
to
stuff.
be able to call it a Hefeweizen. It has to be a certain mix?
Correct, yeah. So American brewing is a little bit different than, take German brewing, for example. They have a set of laws kind of called the Reinheitsgebot or something along those lines, where they're very serious about what can and cannot go into beers. If you tried to call something a Dunkel or Hefeweizen and it didn't fit those guidelines you mentioned, then you wouldn't be able to. Here in America, freedom, you can get away with a lot more. But yeah, each style has a preset like guideline, so a certain percentage of wheat versus barley, a certain bitterness range, a certain alcohol range as well. So to truly be a style that you're aiming for, you would need to be in those ranges.
Oh, okay. So how many gallons will this whole process make at one time?
Sure, yeah, so each time we run through this, we're making 150 gallons. So that's a 5-barrel system. Not huge by most standards, but it's enough for someone like us.
Yeah.
Some of these tanks are as big as 14 barrels. That large one in the back is the total volume. But you, for a lot of these processes, you need a certain headspace. So they're all slightly oversized for the batch size, but appropriately sized for the process.
Okay. And at what process here, I know a little bit about beer making. Yeast has to go in at some point?
Correct, yeah.
Where does that go in?
So once you're into the boil, as I was mentioning before about the bittering hops, if you add them later in the process, there's flavor and aroma, you get more out of it. So in any of those like citrusy, fruity, floral things you're smelling and tasting in beer, all that is with those late addition
That it
hops.
can all be controlled there.
Correct, yeah. So we have a control board up there for temperatures and everything. Flip a switch, fire hits on, and we're off running. So the yeast comes into play. Once we get it out of here, we cool it, put it into these fermenters, and this is where the really important part happens. We put the yeast in there, and it turns the sugars into alcohol.
Okay. So each one of these 4 things are
Correct.
the same thing?
Yeah, they're all the exact same thing. They're all jacketed, which means we have temperature control on them, which is important.
You have fresh water, cold water going around?
It's a water and propylene glycol mixture, so it can go even below freezing and still remain. So that way we can actually cool it down to those very low temperatures. When you're making a lager, for example, you want to be fermenting in like the 55-ish degree range. Ales closer to 70, plus or minus, depending on the style of beer you're going for.
Now, where originally did you learn all this?
Oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so a lot of it was
He's just faking it so far. He sounds good.
I watched a YouTube video for this.
Yeah. He slept at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
There you go. Yeah, no, so all 3 of us brewers, so it's me, Tim Hauk, my brother Rick Hauk, and our friend Steve Banstra. We had been brewing for home brewing for near on 10 years before here. So a lot of it was just like all self-taught. There's a ton of good information out there. Listening to podcasts, YouTube videos, reading blogs, plenty of trial and error. Found out
so
what worked, what didn't work.
You've drank a lot of beer in your life to get here.
Hey, and that's the kind of work you got to put in.
To be an expert.
To be where I'm at. Yeah.
Okay. So it gets into here. How long would it stay in these tanks?
Sure, yeah, so that depends. For ales, you can be between 4 or 5 weeks, somewhere in that range. For lagers, it can be 6 to 12 weeks. And for other beers that you'd want to age, it could be even longer. They're in a fermenter. Now, if we would do something longer than that, say a barrel-aged stout or something like that, we would take it out of this and put it on oak or something like that. So it's not taking this up, but it's also getting some nice, like...
Right. Getting flavors out of the oak.
Getting what you want out of it.
Okay, so it sets in there for 6, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Then you put it into the kegs.
Yep. Yeah. So this is what's called a half keg. Called that because it's a half of a barrel, which is 31 gallons. So each of these is 15 and a half gallons, or about 120 pints.
Okay.
So each one.
But to you common folk out there, this is a keg.
Yeah,
it's actually only a half keg.
Yeah.
Because if they put the beer into a full keg, you couldn't move them around. And believe me, I used to own a bar, and these are a pain in the butt to get in and out of the in and out of the coolers.
Yeah, each of these are about 150 pounds.
And so how many beers?
120 beers. Yeah.
120 beers. Now what's going into there, how many half kegs do you get out of that?
There's 10 that come out of that. So that's, each batch we do is about 1,200 beers, depending if we get our desired yield.
So you have to, for your restaurant here, you have to kind of plan ahead.
Oh yeah.
To make sure you don't run out of.
Oh, and we do run out of beer sometimes. I mean, hey, you might have some month where, you're only selling a few of one kind of beer, and then next month you can't keep it on the shelf. You're just pouring it left and right.
Right.
And that's okay. We, sometimes we'll sell 11 beers instead of 12, or put one style on instead of another.
Now I saw we had a beer before we came in here. We had to sample.
Oh, it's important.
You had like
surprised we don't have beer right now.
You had like 12, 14 beers
12,
on there?
12 beers in there.
12 beers. Does that stay pretty standard?
Yeah, we try to keep 12 on there at all times. Like I said, there might be a week or two here and there.
You do seasonal beers?
Oh yeah, we do a ton of seasonal beers.
Okay.
So we did a pumpkin one for fall. We did a couple of stouts. We did a cinnamon bun stout and a coffee stout and a regular stout as well for over the winter. We have a few new sours that are on now, a cherry, a raspberry sour. There's a lemon sour that's only going to be on for a little longer.
Yeah. Now, like the Halloween pumpkin, you can only sell that for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Do you still have to go through the whole process, or can you make a half a brew? Or
yeah, we've done some split batches where we do everything the same up to here, split them, and then add the different stuff in there. So we've done that before. You could do a half of one. I mean, so for the pumpkin one, we did a full batch, and I mean, people drank it. And, yeah, it was pretty. No, I mean, we ran through it pretty quick actually. We brought it to a couple events, and then people came in here. We canned some. I
know back when I had the bar, we used to shoot a whole keg with green dye for
St. Patty's.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
We learned after the first year you don't do that because people will drink green beer on St. Patrick's Day, but you can't get them to drink it the day after St. Patrick's Day. You have one day. You have one day. And most bars, I'd say, have a hard time going through, if they're offering different beers, going through a half keg in a day. Yeah, if you have 12 beers, you're not going through 12. No, not, I mean. And so what we learned to do is just put some food coloring in the glasses, and then it came out regular, and when it hit the glass, it turned green. Magic. Then that way we had no leftover because we had to almost give away the beer. Throw a little staff party or something like that. Yeah. But okay, so you have 12. What kind of beers do you offer? Yeah, so we have all kinds of styles. So I mean, we'll range from your lighter beers, blondes, some light lagers. We have an amber lager, and then we go into IPAs. So we have West Coast, East Coast, New England. What's the difference between
Yeah,
There's three.
So the West Coast IPAs tend to be a little bit more bitter, and they have like a little bit of a different flavor profile with the hops too. East Coast tends to be more citrusy, and then the New England's, which is what some people think of when they think of East Coast IPAs, are the cloudy ones, the hazies.
Okay.
Sometimes people call them. It goes both ways.
Oh, that's something I like. Hefeweizens.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And their big thing is they're unfiltered.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you unfilter your beer and just Hefeweizen? You don't unfilter?
Yeah. So we do no mechanical filtration of any kind here. So the only way that we do anything is there's some stuff you can add to it during the boil process that helps drop some of the cloudiness out. But then also just cold crashing your beer, which is dropping it to a very low, near freezing temperature, and pushes all the undesirable cloudiness out when you want that. And that does a pretty good job. That and age will get you a nice clear beer, and if that's what you're aiming for.
Yeah. Okay. So the longer it sets in there, the more the particles in there drop out and it becomes clear.
I'm gonna throw a brewing word at you, but it's called flocculation, right? So it's
flocculation.
Flocculation.
Remember
right.
that.
Yeah,
you're gonna be tested afterwards on this.
Spell it.
Yeah.
That's when like the proteins and the yeast and everything, they kind of like group together, and once they get like a dense enough blob, they drop out.
They drop out.
And that's what it's called. Yeah.
Will beer freeze?
It will. Yeah. It's a lower temperature than water. Alcohol freezes at a lower temperature than water, and it's a mixture. We normally get them to about 32, and you're safe there because, like I said, it's a little bit lower freezing than water, but we don't go too much lower. I think you can get away with like 28, 29, but that's just what we do because it definitely can freeze, and our tank out there is 26 or so degrees. The liquid that we circulate around the beers is 26, so we could get it as low as that, but we don't want to freeze the beer.
How hot is the water here in this initial tank?
Yeah, so in the first tank we keep it around 170, so that's about the temperature you want it to be when it's combining with the grain, so that the enzymes are in their most active states. To do what they need to do. So it's actually like I guess technically between like I think 139 and 161 or so is the enzyme that you particularly want, the one that makes the sugars fermentable.
Okay. Now we know this takes 6-8 weeks.
Yep.
How long is this process?
This process 6 to 8 hours. You know, it's
oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like I said, we'll do a couple in a day. Sometimes we'll start 4 in the morning or so, and then we'll be brewing until 8, whatever. So
you can do 150 gallons, get it into one of these,
exactly,
clean it out.
Yep.
And and then do another batch.
Yep.
So you could do 3-4.
Yeah.
You could do 600 gallons a day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As long as you got room to.
Right. So you can see right now all these doors are open. It's because they're empty. We just kegged our last go around, and then we'll be brewing again this weekend. So they'll be full again.
You brew about once a week?
No, yes. I mean, they wouldn't be empty, right? So if they're in there for at minimum like 3 weeks.
Good. You got me there.
Yeah. Yes, it's just not possible. So we try to keep them full and then keg them and fill them up again. So usually they're sitting empty for a week or so at a time until we can get around to doing it again. The three of us all have other jobs as well, so we have to fit it in when we can fit it in.
Yeah. Do you sell your beer out to other bars? Is it available? Can you buy growlers? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, yes. So we have growlers, we have some cans, and we do a low level of distribution with our kegs. With what we have going on retail-wise, it's difficult to do a ton of distribution with our volume. We're limited right here with these 4 tanks.
Right.
So we want to make sure we can give beer to our people first and then send it out after that.
How do you put it into cans?
Into cans? So there's a couple different ways to do it, but the way that we do it is just straight out of the keg, right? So we keg everything to start with. We have a filling wand. So right now it's by hand. So it's a little bit labor intensive, right? So we purge it, and then we fill it, and then we have a seamer in there. It's not anywhere we can see it right now, but you just stick the can up there, press a button, it goes zzz. You might have seen them, the crowlers. It's a lot of breweries do crowlers.
Yeah.
They just have a can steamer right behind the thing there. Yeah.
So you have a deal where somebody can buy a growler and take it home and come back up.
Oh yeah.
And get it filled up.
Yeah. We have labeled growlers for sale. You can bring in other ones too if you want to, but you fill it up. It's $15.
Do you have a
It's a
club
pretty good
or
deal.
anything? Or?
So we actually do have a membership club. It's not a growler club per se, but you get a % off beer, you get some swag. Your beer comes in a bigger glass now. We have 20 ounce instead of a 16 ounce.
Oh, geez.
And then you can,
Hey, we only got 16 ounce.
Well, that's good you're not in the club yet.
We're not in the club. We're not in the club.
So you can flex on your friends, show them.
Go, hey, look.
Yeah.
I got the hidden. So what
Nice
is...
small beer you got
so
there.
what is... we're public now. You don't have to, but what is the hidden key?
The hidden key? All right, check your pockets. No, I'm kidding. So the hidden key, we're passionate about beer, making it, drinking it, good beer, but we're also passionate.
Sure it's in that order?
Drinking it while we're making it. It's already. But even more important to that is community to us, right? So the hidden key is kind of like a place where people can come together, a community can like have a beer together, meet some people you haven't talked to before. Someone was talking to me about this recently, and the concept of a third place, which is basically you have work, you have home, and then the third place is like historically been like a bar or a restaurant or something where people come to get together, and that's what we want to be, for this community. So that's the hidden key.
And you're all three of you from around Greencastle?
Yeah. So all three of us went to Messiah. And we were from various places, Eastern Pennsylvania, and Steve from New Jersey, actually.
Is Messiah a religious college?
Yeah, it's a Christian college up in Harrisburg.
And you turn into brewmasters.
Well, Jesus did it, so.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I guess so.
We all ended up coming down here to work at Manitowoc.
You think your professors would be happy that...
I think some of them would be. Not all of them, some of them. But then so I'm tied here because my wife grew up in Greencastle. Rick, my brother, his wife grew up in Greencastle. So that's kind of like our roots to the area. And we've been here 10 years or so. Like I said, I've been working at Grove the whole time.
Okay.
Steve, same way. Ricky was there for a stint over at Straits. All three of us are engineers, so.
Okay. And what's the address here if somebody wants to come to Greencastle to Hidden Key Brewery?
It's 101 West Baltimore Street, Greencastle. But you can also just Google Hidden Key and we'll pop right up.
And you also, now you're just the food part of this business, right?
We're not the food part of the business.
I'm sorry, right. Yeah. What have we been talking about here for the last
doing?
Okay, let me back up. You're just the brewery part of this business.
Yes.
There is a food business called Bell's Kitchen.
That's correct. Yeah, so we partner with them. They make delicious food, we make delicious beer, and we stay in our lanes.
Okay.
So you're welcome.
Sorry about that mess up there, folks. Brain fart or something. I'm not sure what that was. And we were noting earlier, it's nice to have this, the elevated train track is right back here, so you don't have nosy neighbors. And you get a high-speed train going through here every now and then.
Yeah, it's a nice backdrop. Kids especially love it, but some adults too. And then we have also like a nice outdoor area. We have an outdoor bar. We have a band area that we have bands come out and play. And we have seating outside for well over 100 people.
And you have a bar area.
Yeah.
And a patio, which is called patio area, an enclosed patio area.
Yep. So even that area, when it's nice out, nice spring days or summer days when it's not too hot, we have some garage doors in there that we lift up. So you get that like semi-outdoor feel without, being in the sun or whatever. And then back in the beer garden, we have some sunshades that we put up too.
So there's room behind the building here.
Yeah, that's where the outdoor bar is too. That's where we have like a little area we put in a little stage for the bands.
Now in Pennsylvania, I understand if you're a brewery, you can only sell liquor that comes from the state of Pennsylvania?
Correct. So we can sell beer that we manufacture, and then any alcohol that's been made in Pennsylvania. So that's how
somebody can't come here and get a Jack and Coke.
No, you can get a whiskey and Coke.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have mixed drinks, we have wines we sell, that sort of thing. We do mimosa flights on Sundays. People have been really responding to that. So.
And you, I know one bar in particular, you can have a satellite.
Yep.
Satellite bar distribution point.
Yeah, so I think it's technically called like a storage location, but it has all the same licensing abilities that we have here. So you can sell things just like you could at this location. You can have as many as 2 of those additional locations.
Okay, and we can mention that name?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's Triggers Table and Tap Room. That's over in Waynesboro. I forget the name of the street that it's on.
Walnut.
Walnut.
118
Walnut Street, right next to Montezuma's.
Yep.
And they're selling Hidden Key beers there.
Yep. For the next few weeks, it's Saturdays only, 5 to 10. Most or all of them have bands out there, but coming hopefully in the end of April, we'll have more full hours. Talking about Wednesday to Sunday there. A limited beer selection, but eventually they'll have the same deal, you know, mixed drinks, wines, and our full beer list as well. Okay. Anything else you wanna say about your brewery here? That was pretty informative. Hey, I try my best. No, just if you haven't come out to try it, you should, and I'm sure you'll have a great time and enjoy some nice beers.
And I understand that you're the man.
Yeah, that's right.
Of the men.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I'm the one that showed up, so I'm the guy.
You're the guy
That's right.
of the guys.
Yeah.
And there's 3 other partners?
There's 3 of us total. Yeah. So
3 total.
Me,
okay.
Tim Hauk, my brother Rick Hauk, and our friend Steve Banstra.
That's who was out here.
Steve was out there. I just saw Rick poking around there too.
He didn't want to come in the door. You had him out there. Shy, maybe. You had him out there doing the manual labor.
Yeah.
Bringing the.
Well, when you look like this, you know, I'm kind of the face.
Yeah, you're kind of. Yeah.
I'll have him do all the manual labor. Yeah.
Look who you're talking to.
Exactly.
That's why I'm here.
A couple of beers, I start looking pretty good. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to come up to, what's the address?
Hidden Key, 101 West Baltimore Street, Greencastle.
And tell them Jesse sent you. Don't know that'll get you anything, but they'll go, oh yeah, I know that guy. We'll see you next Wednesday for Jesse Green Live In Between.
All right, thanks. Bye. See you out here.